Alrighty, hi everyone. Happy Saturday. I hope you're having a good one out there. We do have the potential for some severe storms later on today. And one thing I'm seeing a lot of is sunshine out there. And while, yes, sunshine is delightful, on days like today when we have a severe storm threat later on, maybe not so much. So all that extra sunshine, it's going to add to that energy out there, and it could add to our storms later on today, give them that ample energy they need to grow to be severe. So we are looking at scattered storms later on today. Our timing is between 2 and 7 p.m., really into the metro area though by about 4 to 5 o'clock. Our threats will be damaging wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour and hail up to about an inch. There is always the threat for an isolated weak tornado anytime we have severe weather. It does look like today though that our main risks will be strong winds and hail, less so on the tornadoes. Let me go ahead and I'll bring this up and we'll go through what we can expect through the rest of the day today. So our Doppler radar here, I'm actually going to back this up for the last 6 hours. I had it on last 4 for our newscasts earlier today, but you can see this was strong yesterday when it was coming through, and then by the time it made it through this morning into Missouri and Iowa, it was really starting to weaken a little bit. That does tend to happen, especially into the early morning hours. That is when we are most stable. We kind of stabilize overnight most nights, not every night, but most nights we stabilize overnight, and then we tend to see our more severe storms in the afternoon. Now as we bring this into the St. Louis area, we do have some cloud cover north of St. Louis into Litchfield. It's a little bit, we have a lot of high clouds out there. We do have a couple of storms off towards Springfield, even further down into Arkansas, and a little bit for the north into Kirksville as well. But for the most part, we are nice and dry throughout most of the state this morning. Let's go over our storm tracker here. So we're going to pause this at key points as we get through the day today. So 2:30 looks like regular old rainfall, nothing to get all too excited about. Then as we head into 4 o'clock, you know this by now, you know that this does look like it could get a little interesting for us. So we'll see how that goes. We will have isolated severe storms within this and scattered thunderstorms as well. Heavy pockets of very heavy rainfall. I'll bring this in even a little bit closer just so you can kind of make out a few of those areas closer into town here. So we are expecting heavy rainfall within these storms. That continues on. As it crosses over the Mississippi River, it's going to gather up some more moisture and it's going to allow those storms to grow stronger as well. So as by about 6, 7 o'clock, still in our daylight hours, still will deal with some instability out there. We are going to have scattered severe storms, a bit more widespread as it crosses over the Mississippi River as before it crosses the Mississippi. We will have some pockets of heavy rainfall towards Mount Vernon and Farmington as well as Effingham through 9 o'clock tonight. Then a big break overnight all the way until about 12:37 tomorrow. We do have a lot going on. We have the Florissant Valley of Flowers parade tomorrow. We'll see how it goes. I think that steps off at around 1:15, so we should be all right if they can get that done quickly. Then we're going to have some rainfall by about 4:38, making its way into the metro area. I'll zoom in here to show you that, even that Florissant area might even still be all right by about 4:38. It'll be dependent on exactly when those come through. All right. Continue to track that through. That moves through and we'll still have some regular old rainfall by about 9 a.m. Certainly we are out of our drought categories because of all of this rainfall that we've had in the St. Louis area. We are not worrying about additional rainfall quite the way we were last year at about this time when we were inches behind. Now we're starting to get inches ahead. I'm just seeing here. I was checking our Facebook just to see if we have any questions, and I'll also check after. My phone's not always the best about updating in real time, but I'll check afterwards if you've left a comment for me or a question. I'll try to answer your question for you after this update. All right, your severe weather today. So our main threats, like we went over, damaging wind gusts up to 60, large hail. Always the possibility with any severe storm we have that it could spin up a weak tornado as well. We are in a marginal risk, so that is 1 out of 5 from the Storm Prediction Center. That's the experts at the Storm Prediction Center, part of the National Weather Service, who determine our storm category. Further down to the south, they are in a slight and enhanced risk, so we are lucky that we are just in a marginal risk today. We will be under a weather alert today by about 3 o'clock. 82 degrees. We'll have those storms starting to develop. 5 o'clock, it really moves into the metro area. 7 o'clock, it is making its exit and it is moving off into Illinois. So weather alert for this afternoon. Your 10-day forecast does show a bit of a bumpy ride here, everyone. Brace yourselves. I feel like we've had plenty of rainfall. That's very nice. We really needed it. Now we need some dry conditions to allow crops out there to grow, allow our gardens to flourish. And it doesn't really look like that's going to be the case over the next few days. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all chances for showers and storms. That'll come in for the afternoon into the overnight hours. 86 degrees on Tuesday. That looks like it could be a bit of a dicey day for us. So we will watch for the potential of severe storms coming in on Tuesday. We are anticipating that. Wednesday as well, 86 degrees. Once again, warming conditions. The warmer it is out there, the more energy we have from the sun, the more likely things can grow to be severe. Then for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, a week from now, it's actually looking really nice. We're going to be in the mid-70s, good mix of sun and clouds out there. We'll have a chance for a few showers and storms on Monday. I'm going to see if my phone has updated Facebook just to see if any of you have written in any questions. I'll be happy to answer those. And if my phone is not bringing them up to date right now, I will, of course, check in with you immediately after this and answer any of those questions that pop up. Let's see. Oh, will it affect Collinsville, Kentucky Derby at the racetrack? That's a question from a fellow Tracy. All right, Tracy. So I don't expect this to impact Collinsville during the racetrack for the Kentucky Derby time. I think post is a little bit later today, so we should be all right. I'm very optimistic that this storm is going to kind of stall over Missouri a little bit, finally making its way into Illinois. If your racetrack Kentucky Derby event was in Herman instead of Collinsville, well, questionable. But into Collinsville, I think you should be all right. Your drive home might be a little bit questionable. We have a plan for broadcasting the Kentucky Derby today. As long as none of our storms make it into that tornado category, we're just going to run the banner, unless there's a storm that does grow to be quite dangerous and we need to tell everyone about it. We do not want to interrupt the Kentucky Derby, though, so I think you should be just fine for Collinsville this afternoon for the Derby. I'm going to look up really quick what time post is. What time is post for Kentucky Derby? Signature event. All right, so that'll be at about 5:57. I think you'll be all right. I'm hoping that rain holds off until 7. Okay. Allie's writing, all of my apps say something different. Well, yeah, especially on a day like today, and those apps are going to continue, Allie, saying something different each and every time. Creve Coeur area and Columbia, Illinois. So for Creve Coeur area, I'm thinking right around 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock-ish, especially if you're a little bit more southern into Creve Coeur. And then Columbia, I know I have been to Columbia multiple times. I'm going to really quickly look up to make sure I know, because I always get confused between, I've got Columbia, Missouri, Columbia, Illinois. We've got a lot of duplicates here. All right, on the other side of the river, further down to the south. Well, Allie, for that soccer game in Columbia, as long as you're out of there by about 6 o'clock, you should be just fine. Brian Jones asking about the St. Louis Cardinals game. Alrighty, for the Cardinals, their first pitch is at 1:15. It's a Wolf at the Park or something. You bring your dogs to the baseball park today. I think that'll be awesome, and I think it'll be just fine. We certainly do not want our dogs out there during thunderstorms. Most dogs don't really like those, do they? And for us, we're looking at fine conditions through 1:15. I would make sure you try to get your dog out of there. If the game happens to go long with the new rules in baseball, they've been playing much faster. But with the new rules, playing much faster, I would try to be out of there by at least 3:30 though, so you don't get any rumbles of thunder. Would hate for your dog to get a bit scared at the baseball game today. Alrighty. Christine is asking about flash flooding. Christine, I really do think that is going to be an issue here anytime we get rainfall now, because when you walk outside, you'll notice it immediately. Our ground is very saturated right now. It's almost like a kitchen sponge that's been wet. And, you know, once that kitchen sponge gets totally absorbed with water, it's not going to be able to absorb any more moisture. That's sort of what our ground is like now, very saturated. So a lot of our additional rainfall is just running off immediately. with some of these storms in certain areas, they could produce enough rainfall that you could have a localized flash flooding risk. I think really over the next few days, all the way from Saturday into Thursday, anytime we have rainfall, if we have the potential for some really heavy rain, that could be an issue with this. I'm going to actually bring our weather back so I can kind of just show you your severe weather alert today. And then Tim Henson is asking about, will the storms be out of O'Fallon, Illinois by 6? Well, Tim, I think they'll be heading into O'Fallon, Illinois by about 6 o'clock. So 6 to 7, I think really 7 might be a better estimate for timing of those storms making their way into O'Fallon. It will take a little bit of time for them to get there. So I think it'll be just starting right at around 6 to 7, hopefully after that Kentucky Derby post time, fingers crossed for that. And then let's see. Oh, Nicole says it's my daughter's prom. Pictures are at 5. Let me see which question Nicole was. But yeah, so we'll see. Pictures at 5. We'll see how that goes depending on where you are. Oh, I'm sorry, Tim. Tim wrote back, well, it's not what I wanted to hear. And I'm answering questions on Facebook if you are tuning in on YouTube or our website as well. If you follow us on Facebook, that's where I'm answering these questions. Let's see. I think, yeah, pictures are at 5 for prom. Well, we will have to see about that. Alrighty. Well, you know, it's always severe storms, so I'm hopeful that everything can get out of the way. And I think I saw a question in here earlier about the Festus DeSoto area. So I'm actually going to go back here to this graphic, zoom in a little bit kind of towards that Festus area, and show you what we're looking at through the day today. So just a minute. And then I think I had a St. Louis question as well. This will hopefully answer that for you as well. I'm going to cut off Farmington a little bit here, so just a minute. Hang on. We're going to go through a few graphics till I can get back to that other one. Not that one, this guy. All right, let's zoom in a little bit so you can kind of get a more pinpointed spot for you. All right. So this is 228. Then we have 4 o'clock into St. Louis. You can see sort of like the airport area just starting to impact there. DeSoto Festus starting to get into there. And then that makes its way across by about 7 o'clock into some of our areas. And then you can see 9 o'clock here for our Saturday. All right. Dirt track races in Mattoon. I'm going to check on Mattoon here for you in just a minute. So, all right, one other thing I want to go back for. There's that Kentucky Derby race time. And it's going to be interesting for Kentucky Derby time, everyone. And then Mattoon. Okay, let me look up really quick. I know I've been to all these towns. I do school visits. I visit just about everyone. Let's see. All right. Ooh, way out there on the edges of our coverage area. All right, so for Mattoon, you are probably looking A-okay today. I would expect those storms to come through much, much later on for you in Mattoon. I'm going to bring this up again. It'll be just a minute so I can show you that area a little bit in greater detail here. Remember, these are just an outline, so it's definitely, you know, nothing is perfect for weather. It is not an exact science. I really wish it was. But there's about 5 o'clock for you into some areas. So we'll see. Getting out of the way, some lighter rain. Mattoon, we're looking at about 9 o'clock. All right. Oh, Tracy, of course. I'm so happy to. A fellow Tracy, from a Tracy to Tracy. Thank you so much for checking in. All right. I think Gray Summit, Point Labadee Farmers Market. Oh, that's a spot I need to come visit. I'm not too far from you all out there in Gray Summit. So the farmers market, those are usually during the day. I would think that's during the day. You'll probably be just fine there because it looks like we won't have storms really entering our area until about 1. You can see more so developing over the Gray Summit area around 3 o'clock or so. Coming back from Tracy, another Tracy. All right, Tracy is representing this morning. Coming back from Farmington, Missouri, about 6 p.m. to the St. Louis area. Will I be driving through storms? Yes, I do think you will be driving through storms. Let's see, Farmington, 6 o'clock. You can see that kind of comes up in a way. There will be off and on breaks. I don't know what's better. Sometimes it's better just to drive in regular old rain than really heavy and then dry again. I know my windshield has a hard time staying defrosted. So, all right. I think that covers most of the questions I've seen on here. And yeah, I know Tracy Ernie Parr is writing in. All the Tracys are in the house. I love it. I think we got 3 Tracys, most Tracys I've ever seen in one group here. Alrighty, everyone, stay safe today. Just remember this is a rough outline for the day. We'll see how things go. We certainly don't want to have to interrupt the Kentucky Derby with any severe weather, but of course, if things get questionable out there with storms that are dangerous, there's always a hail risk with this as well. Today, we're thinking about up to an inch. We are not going to interrupt programming for an inch, but if it got like it did a month or so ago, which we do not expect today, we would of course cut in to let you know that baseball size hail is coming through town. We do not expect that to be the case today. Another question in here is what the severe level is today. We are in a marginal risk, so that is a 1 out of 5. Any hail, I think I just answered that one. So yeah, we are expecting about 1 inch hail, so nothing too crazy today, but that will come through. So East St. Louis, I think it'll start for you. Another question in there by about 4:30, and then that does start to get out of the way right at around 6 o'clock. Remember, this is a rough guideline. We'll have to see how our storms go. Everything can be a little bit tricky, but I do expect kind of the later evening for Illinois, and then earlier in the afternoon for the Missouri side. All the bad stuff downtown. I kind of talked a little bit about that earlier, Brandon, but we are looking at storms coming through downtown about 5 o'clock, I would say. I think this will be right around 5 o'clock. For us. So hopefully we get that Cardinals game up and out of the way. Alrighty, everyone. Well, hopefully I answered most of your questions. I watched them on my phone to try to check in and see that. So monitoring all of those. And if you tuned in with us on our app or on YouTube, thanks as well. You can always join us on Facebook, and I'll try to answer those questions. My phone doesn't always come through with them as fast as it should. Sometimes it'll show about 5 or 10 at a time. So hopefully I got to most of your questions today. And do check in with us this afternoon. The sunshine out there, it's adding some extra energy to our atmosphere. So these storms do have the potential to grow to be severe later on today. And Gary Frank will be in with you later on this afternoon. I, of course, will see you all tomorrow morning on Sunday. Bit of a bumpy week ahead, so we will be watching that as things continue. Alrighty, everyone. Have a great Saturday and stay dry out there. Let's hope all of our events can make it in before those storms move through.